Former Mumbai captain Shishir Hattangadi joins me now from Ahmedabad. Shishir, over the years, India and Australia has become a marquee test series in world cricket. Just remembering my cricketing knowledge, just going back, and thinking of what I've heard over the years. I've heard of baked beans, I've heard of the final frontier, I've heard of sledging, I've heard of tough cricket. Never, though, have I heard of an Australian captain saying that I don't agree with Harbhajan Singh that we are going to lose 4-0.
Yes, Digvijay, it's a bit surprising, especially when we know that Australia come hard at you on the field and, in the pre-match build-up. They talk often of mental disintegration, which doesn't seem to be the case this time. I think they have a resilient aggression, silent aggression, controlled aggression in the way they're approaching this series, because they're well aware that, just pre-match talk doesn't help, and that's something that experience tells you. They know their weak links. They know that this is by far inexperienced touring team to India, barring a couple of players. They're pretty new in the circuit in terms of Test cricket, so they're well aware. They're smart cricketers, these Aussies. They will know where their weak links are. They will know India is a tough nut to crack at home, and playing the way India is at the moment, they'll have to play very, very well to compete well. I'm not even talking about who's going to win at this stage or Australia winning, but they will be aware of where their strengths lie, and they'll have to focus on that and be very, very cautious of their weak links, because weak links are where India can exploit an opposition, playing the way, again, as I said, the way they are at this point in time. And that is something Australia is wary of.
You were saying weak link, and they're just, not getting into the verbal volleys. I would say that they're intimidated at the moment. They are intimidated by what is going to unfold. They've seen what has happened to the other teams which have come to India. You come from the Mumbai school where you play tough cricket as well, and you know that if you're intimidated, half the battle is won. It was the scene when India used to go to Australia in the 80s and 90s.
I'm not sure about that, Digvijay. I mean, it seems like that. It seems, the muted response, the quiet way they're approaching this series would give you the impression that the Aussies are intimidated. But make no mistake, the Indians are aware that this could be just another way of, getting into the series, getting into the flow of things, and then having that assault, verbal and on the ground, if they find themselves in a position to put pressure on India. So I don't think I'd get too carried away knowing how oppositions work. They have a strategy about how they go about things, even pre-match and to the build-up to the series. So I'd just wait and watch, because if Australia gets a sneak in through that door, they will pile on and they will come hard at India. So India is aware of that, I can tell you.
But the problem with this Australian team, and I actually covered the last time they won in India in 2004. I also covered the Test series when they came in 2013. The problem is this isn't the same Australian team. They don't have the personnel who've come to India. There are very few cricketers in this Australian team who have played in India. You can count the IPL as experience, but the IPL is a different format of cricket. And that's the problem. Apart from Steve Smith, David Warner, who didn't get too many runs in that 2013 series, and maybe a Mitchell Starc or a Nathan Lyon who also didn't get too much, they don't have those players who understand these conditions, understand, it could get hot as well as we're approaching the summer. So it's going to be a tough ask for Australia to come and do well in this series. There's already talk of, perhaps pulling off a miracle and reclaiming that world #1 ranking, but it seems like it's going to be a long way off.
Oh, they'll have to. You hit the nail on the head, Digvijay. They'll have to play out of the box cricket, and starting off from Pune, they will have to make sure that they bat well, because I don't see this bowling at best could be honest. Starc and Hazelwood can be resilient. They can be at you. But look at yes, Lyon is a very, very skillful bowler, but Indians have never been intimidated by spin, whoever it is. So it is the batting that can, sort of set the trend in this series. And setting the trend meaning that key player Dave Warner and Steve Smith scoring runs and big runs, because we've seen in the past with England here that they batted well, they batted deep in the first innings, and suddenly the game sort of disintegrated by the fourth day lunch, the match is over. So this is something that they would have studied with their consultants, with their advisors, that look, it's not about batting well in the first innings, it's also batting time, batting 2 days, to make sure that if the opposition, that is India, bats second, they have to accumulate those many runs in the amount of time, so they can be defensive at best as a bowling unit, but to be able to pick up wickets, they need early wickets, they need to put pressure. So to my mind, this could be a real test for Australia, but in a test lies an opportunity, and I think Australia would be knowing that very well, that if they can get through the first few sessions of a test match, if they bat first, they could be, they could probably put up a good show and show that they're capable of, turning threat into opportunity.
And I was listening to Virat Kohli this morning at his pre-match press conference, and he made it very clear they aren't bothered about the opposition. When you go 19 matches unbeaten, you tend to have that confidence and that swagger.
Yes, but there's a very thin line between confidence, swagger, and arrogance, and I think Virat is aware of it. He's not allowing the surround sound to disturb his team. It's very cliched, but captains generally say, we're looking at our own strengths. But if you take an in-depth look at that statement, it's actually true. You need to look at where you can improve as a team. Where are your areas that you need to be careful of? Where are the areas that can let you down? And overconfidence comes into that bracket.
Are there any areas where they need to be they need to be on their guard? This team seems to have ticked all the boxes. The only change we are hearing could be Jayant Yadav coming in for Bhuvneshwar Kumar, because this team in that home season which has happened since New Zealand came here have been firing on all cylinders.
You just asked a question where I think you have an answer. It's overconfidence. You said that they've ticked all the boxes. So to my mind, at the moment, the only thing that can sort of let them down is overconfidence. I think team meetings with Anil Kumble and Virat Kohli will be very, very vocal about the fact that overconfidence is one area that they definitely don't need at this stage, because when you're playing consistently well as a team, there is a human tendency and a sporting tendency to go over the top and believe that you can turn up on any day and do the things right that you've done in the last 17, 18 games. But you get out of the wrong side of the bed, and you know what can happen in sport. You just start falling, and that falling away can happen so suddenly. You suddenly realize you've got to rebuild and build up that confidence. So I think overconfidence is an area that they would be also careful of. They will be cautious and they will be quietly confident, I might say, but definitely overconfidence is something they don't need at this stage.
Shishir, when we tend to sit on shows like this, we tend to look for battles within the battles. I was actually trying to make sense of some numbers, and I just could not. I just looked at that scorecard of the warm-up game, and Shreyas Iyer absolutely thrashed the Aussie spinners all over the park. You get a feeling that the pressure is going to come down on Steven Smith and David Warner, that they will have to carry Australia right through this series. But can they do it against a spin attack, an Indian spin attack, which has got 100-odd wickets in the home series already?
Digvijay, they'll need a little bit of luck. They'll need to be able to win tosses and bat first, because making first use of a test match pitch is so very important in India. And they've come with the full knowledge, and I've been speaking to a few friends, that they're going to get some turners, and they'll get turners. If they bat second, obviously they'll bat on day 2 after lunch, or on day 3. They're well aware. We don't have to be scientists and Einsteins to know that the ball is going to spin. But the fact is, they'll need that luck to bat first. When Hayden took on India, that was a competitive series. I mean, it wasn't the final frontier, but certainly they had the openers who delivered for them. That gave them that push till that day in Calcutta when things changed with Lakshman and Dravid. But till then, they had things well under control. They had Shane Warne, which they don't have now. They had McGrath, which obviously isn't around, but they had the batting firepower. They had the Hayden who took on and who got away with taking on the Indians. They had Steve Waugh, they had Michael Slater, they had some competent players there, and they played aggressive cricket. But mind you, they got the runs. They, you know, the batting time is one thing, but you need to get the runs too in India, because you will get that odd ball that will hit your glove, pop in, and you're out. So hanging on or you're occupying the crease could be a different meaning in this series. It will have to be also looking for runs, looking for those opportunities to pile on the runs. And as far as their trial games go, or the warm-up games go, I don't think they take it as seriously. They know that it's an opportunity to get accustomed to pitches, to the environment, the weather. I don't think they pay too much attention. I've played a couple of warm-up games in my time with the Australians. They're just looking at, you know, getting their combination right, getting a workout out in the middle. They don't really care about who scores runs or who doesn't score runs. It's important, but they're not there to stretch themselves. They keep that for the test match, and this is going to be important. So what I'm looking forward to is that first session. If they bat, they'll give the body language will tell you how they're going about the series. If they're meek and submissive, I can tell you it could be a different ball game. But if they're positive and they get the runs on the board, then suddenly you'll see that confidence growing over sessions, and that is where I think Australia need to be positive.
Yes, the famed Aussie never say die attitude, they also call it the mongrel. Shishir Hattangadi, thank you so much. As with you, we will also be looking at that first session, and we'll have you back on this show at 7:30 on Thursday.